What's up guys? Welcome back, and in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to get input from the user. How to have the user type in things on their keyboard and get that information and use it in your computer program. It's going to be pretty sweet. So let's just go ahead and make a simple program just so they have something to type in. I'll have them like type in their name and the name of like their crush, and it'll be like, hey, you're going to get married to this person. It'll be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and I got my mouse in the right place. We'll just go ahead and make a couple strings first because of course they're going to be storing their name in a string. So I'll just put that as a first name array, and we'll give them 20 characters to work with. That'll be long enough unless anyone has a real long name. Another thing is crush, which is going to be the name of their crush. Mine is Rachel McAdams, gonna get married. And the last one is int number of babies. We'll say how many babies are they going to have. Now, the reason I want to have a different data type is because you actually have to treat this a little bit differently, and I'll show you that later on. So basically, the first thing we want to do before they type something in is we always want to give them a prompt. So that way, it's like, hey, type your name on the screen. If we just have a cursor blinking on the screen, they're not going to know, am I supposed to type in a number, my name, what the heck? So let's just go ahead and add a simple printf. And we'll say something like, I don't know, what is your name? And might as well pump that on a new line. Now, the function to allow the user to input information is scanf. Now, this is actually really similar to printf in a lot of ways, so you guys are probably going to like it. So the first parameter it takes is, of course, a placeholder which they are going to fill with whatever they type into the keyboard. So since they're going to be typing a name, we need %s because that's going to be a string. So the next piece of information is whenever we get this input, what variable do you want to store it in? Well, the first thing they type in, the string, is going to be their name, so we're going to store it in first name right there. So basically, like I said, whenever this line runs, it's pretty much going to be a blinking line on the screen, and whenever they type in something like Bucky and hit enter, it says, okay, now store the string Bucky in first name. So then we can just print it out and use it as a normal variable, just like we've done for the last like dozen tutorials or whatever. So I actually can copy this because I'm lazy. And the second question is, how are we going to say, like, who are you going to marry? And of course for this one, you want to store in the crush array. It sounds like you want to smash something, but basically it's going to do the same thing. And the last one, and the reason I needed int is this. We're actually going to use, well, we can actually copy all this. So for the last question, we'll just be like, how many kids will you have? Now, of course, since they're going to be entering a number, we don't want to store that as a string. We want to store that as a %d for integer. And for crush, of course, let's change that to number of babies because that's the variable. Now, one thing that you need to pay attention to is this. Right before number of babies, right before the n, go ahead and hit the ampersand, the symbol above the 7 on your keyboard. And you guys are going to understand exactly what the symbol is when we talk about pointers later on. But for now, just remember this very general rule. You need to use that ampersand symbol before every single variable except arrays. Arrays have a pretty much a built-in ampersand. I know I didn't talk to you guys about pointers yet, but that symbol's already built into an array, more or less. So anytime you use a float, a character, an integer, you always want to put ampersand right before the variable name, or else it won't work. Your program will crash. If you don't believe me, try it out. So now that they entered, definitely don't want to do that. Alright, so now we have all of the information stored inside these variables. So let's just go ahead and print something out on the screen. So printf, and this will just verify that we have everything in there correctly. So we will say something like %s and %s are in love, and we'll have %d babies. And of course, this will fill with the first name, and then the name of your crush, and what's this? Number of babies. So hopefully, if we didn't forget any semicolons or anything, we can run this and check it out. And I want to note one other thing. Before we learned this tutorial and how to use a scanf function, our program basically ran all at once and then said, okay, return 0, good to go. However, whenever we use scanf, what's going to happen is our program is running line by line from the top down. So it's going to say printf, what's your name? And that's what you see right here. But when it gets to scanf, it pretty much pauses your program and it waits to continue it until you typed in something. So this isn't only a place to allow the user to type in, it's basically pausing your program and waiting for you to hit enter to tell it to continue. So what is your name? I'll hit Bucky, hit enter. And also another thing I want to point out is my crush is Rachel McAdams. However, whenever you use a space with scanf, it thinks that it's the end of the string. So never use spaces. Just go ahead and type in one word, Rachel. If you want to like make a program to have a first name and a last name, then you're going to need another variable. So you would put something like crush first name, crush last name. But for this simple program, can't talk. That's what we're doing. So Rachel, hit enter. Now Rachel is stored in crush. And how many kids will you have? I'll just put, something small like 53 and hit enter. So now it says Bucky and Rachel are in love. She does love me. And we'll have 53 babies or more, probably more. So hopefully you guys understand how to use scanf. Again, it's really similar to printf. This is how to pretty much give information to the user by displaying it on a screen, and this is how to get information from the user. And also remember this, use the little ampersand sign before every single variable, except when you're using arrays. You don't need it. So well, that's it for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.